Hello everyone, it's Simmuz here, welcome to a brand new video, and today we are not talking about The Sims, we are talking about Life by You, a game by Paradox that has been officially cancelled. But before jumping into the video, as always, if you want to support my channel and my content, don't forget to leave a like to this video, subscribe, and also leave a comment down below to help the algorithm push this video to other people, especially if you think what I'm talking about is very interesting, and I think this time it's very interesting. And as always, I'm also wearing my own merch, and the link is in the description if you want to check it out. But let's go a little back and let's talk about Life by You as a game. Life by You was a game announced and honestly almost released by Paradox and was supposed to be the brand new life simulation that was going to take down the Sims 4 monopoly on the market for live simulation games and finally give us something new and something fresh. And it was advertised as about to be released last year, honestly. I think it was around October of last year. It was the official release date for this game. It was then pushed at the beginning of this year and then pushed again, and after the second push, the official announcement was released and it's officially cancelled by the studio. If you honestly have never heard of Life by You, it was supposed to be an open world game that was supposed to be a life simulation just like The Sims, and made by honestly one of the biggest, I guess still indie studios that is making video games right now, and they especially have a very well-renowned fame for their simulation games. So Paradox Studio worked alongside with another studio to create this game and to publish it, obviously, and their goal was to publish it at the end of 2023. Then the first images came out, the first reviews came out of people trying the game, and people were super excited about it. It didn't look up to par with the expectation that people had, so it got delayed. Especially they wanted to fix performance issues, other issues with gameplay, and especially also the look of the game, because a lot of people were complaining about that. They did release a couple pictures and statements in regards of these issues, talking about how they were going to fix them, how they were working on them, giving us new look for the characters in this game. Honestly, I wasn't a super huge fan of the look of the game. I personally thought it really looked like an old game. It really gave me 2008, 2007 vibes. Sims 3 honestly looked better than this game. But I was still nonetheless kind of curious to see where it was going, because a new life simulation game on the market, we haven't had one of those in so long. Basically right now, the only one that we have for computers is The Sims 4, and The Sims franchise has been monopolizing this industry side of gaming for basically years and years. So having a new competitor in the market, I thought it was going to be very good, and you know, a little competition is always great. I even made a video talking about all the upcoming live simulation games, because it seems like there's a lot of upcoming simulation games right now, other than Life by You that I guess right now isn't coming out anymore. We also have Bar Lives, we have Vivaland, we have the brand new game that Grant Rodiak is working on, we have Project Renee in the works, so there's a lot going on behind the scenes. But Life by You was going to be one of the first competitors coming out, so I was kind of keeping an eye out for this one. But after this first delay late 2023 and the second delay of the early access in early 2024, they officially announced the cancellation of the game. So Paradox released a statement, and we're going to read through it a little bit just so that you can see what they're working on. I'm going to also leave the link in the description so you can check it out for yourself. But here is the statement. Sadly, we decided to cancel the release of our long-awaited live sim Life by You. It was an incredibly difficult call to make, and it is a clear failure on Paradox's part to meet both our own and the community's expectation. That's very harsh language, I have to say. I honestly feel like there is something else going on behind the scene rather than just the game not meeting their expectations. We realize this raises some large questions. Here we hope to shed at least some light on why we opted to cancel rather than delay, as we communicated earlier. Life by You has been in the works for a long time, and we've been very excited about the promise and the potential of this game. Our hope was always that it would be able to leave a mark in this exciting and new game for us. That's why we opted to delay it twice, to give the studio and the game a fair shot at realizing the potential we saw. For each delay we made, we've seen incremental improvements, which which in hindsight will have led us to focus on the details rather than the whole picture. I feel like that's socially fair to say, as especially a smaller studio working on such a big game, because life simulation games are not an easy game to create. It takes a lot of behind the scenes work for making sure the characters make sense, the aging up process of characters, if that's a feature in the game, interactions between characters, or all the animations, the simulations, everything that it takes to get to a live simulation game. There is so much behind it. A smaller studio, especially we're talking about Love by You, I know it was funded by Paradox, but it was worked on by a smaller studio. And the same honestly can be said as well for Paralives. I know these people that are on a smaller scale, they have to work really hard to meet the same expectation that people have for such a larger studio than Max's, that has hundreds and hundreds of employees and is financed by honestly one of the biggest brands in gaming, which is EA. So that's totally fair that they said that they realized they were focusing on the smaller details, that maybe people were nitpicking rather than the whole game as a one issue. So I totally can understand this, and I feel like it's a very open letter to us to let us know why it didn't work out this way, and owning honestly to their own mistakes. A few weeks back, we decided to hold off on an early access release in order to evaluate Life by You, as we still felt that the game was lacking in some key areas. Though as time extension was an option, once we took that pause to get a wider view of the game, it became clear to us that the road leading to the release that we felt confident about was far too long and uncertain. This is not to say that the game has not shown any promising quality. Life by You had a number of strengths and hard work of a dedicated team that went into realizing them. However, when we came to a point where we believed that more time will not get us close to a version we would be satisfied with, then we believe it's better to stop. This is obviously tough and disappointing for everyone who poured their time and enthusiasm into this project, especially when our decision comes so late in the process. Again, very pointed language here that I immediately picked up on when I read this the first time. It does feel like this person is writing this, which is the WCO of Paradox, was disappointed that this game did not come out as they were planning. So I'm guessing, obviously, which makes sense, Paradox invested a lot of money into this game and it didn't meet their expectation and the studio's making it expectation. I'm guessing probably because of a time frame limit. And when we're talking about live simulation games in general, they already take a long time to make and build and make sure they work correctly. A live simulation games has a lot going on in it, so it makes sense that it takes a long time to be ready to be published. So I am kind of interested to know if maybe Paradox wanted this game out in a certain time frame and the studio did not meet that time frame because the game takes so long to be made, and it was more of a question of maybe miscommunication, maybe Paradox trying too hard to make a new game to fill the hole in the market, which is honestly pretty big because, as I said, only The Sims is now in this market. So no, I don't know, maybe Paradox really wanted to step into this genre of game and they didn't realize it would take so much longer and so many resources to be able to create it. So this is all obviously speculation. I don't know exactly what happened behind the scenes. And basing on how they're talking about it in this statement, it is kind of pointed language towards the people that worked on the game especially. At the end of the day, our job is to release games that are fun, interesting, and challenging for our players, and our every decision should be taken with that purpose in mind. When we get that right, we earn our pay. So, how do we ensure we don't find ourselves here again? Honestly, there are no real guarantees. Games are difficult to get right and will definitely make mistakes, which, as this thing goes, always become painfully apparent in hindsight, but still shouldn't reach this kind of magnitude regardless. Again, very pointed language. We have to take a long and hard look at what led us here, and we see what changes have to make to become better. In the end, our mission remains the same, and we'll continue to take whatever steps we need to just do that. Interesting language. As I said, this is very pointed language. This feels like there's something behind the scene going on. Maybe there's something that happened between Paradox and the studio working on it. And I feel like that might be it, because there's also other news coming out right now, PC Gamer released this article that apparently, hours after canceling Life by You and officially announcing the cancellation, Paradox closed the Life by You studio that had 24 employees in it. So the studio is now disbanded. So I'm guessing there was something else happening behind the scenes. So if you read this PC Gamer article, I'm gonna also leave this link in the description. Paradox has announced it's shuttering Paradox Tectonic, the studio that was solely responsible for the development of semi-competitor Life by You until the game was suddenly cancelled just yesterday. Tectonic was a 24-person studio headed up by former Second Life boss Rod Humble, based out of Berkeley, California. CEO Frederick Wester called the announcement difficult and drastic news for our colleagues at Tectonic, but that with cancellation of their sole project, we have to take the tough decision to close down the studio. We're deeply grateful for their hard work in trying to take Paradox into a new genre. Well, I don't know. I feel like there's something that happened. I feel like, I don't know if it was miscommunication or maybe Paradox really wanted this game to be ready in a certain time frame. As I said, there's definitely something happening here. I feel like maybe Paradox really wanted this Life by You game to come out in a certain time frame, and the studio tried their best to try and meet this expectation of timeline, but they couldn't. And when they still decided to go through with the process of releasing this game, stuff came out for the announcement and pictures and all of that, and they expected maybe not a terrible reaction from people, maybe not super interested and involved, but maybe like a mild, oh, this is interesting reaction. Instead, they met a pretty big backlash for the look of the game and the performance. So they tried to maybe rectify it a little bit. They saw that it couldn't be done in a certain time frame, and Paradox decided, hey, I'm gonna cut my losses, I'm gonna get a tax refund or like a tax break, whatever. Boom, that's gone. And it's interesting that they also like immediately closed down the studio. So it's like, oh, well, you didn't do this one game that we wanted as we wanted, bye. It's a little harsh. So honestly, I think there could be honestly something else going on in the behind the scenes here, which we probably will never know though, unless some employees, ex-employees, come out with a statement of some kind. We also have to remind ourselves that Paradox did not have a terrible 2023 financially. They had a pretty good 2023. Paradox Interactive says its full year revenue grew by 34% in a year earning. It's a very, very staggering increase. Honestly, 34% is huge. We see here, it is like slumping down after this news, which makes total sense. But overall, I think Paradox is having a great year, even with the issues with Life by You, and even with the issues of their other game, Cities Skylines 2, which was met again with decently negative reviews and critics by the fans, especially because of the issues with performance and the lack of gameplay accessibility and issue inside of the core game, the economics of the game and all of that. So if you're a Cities Skylines fan, you probably know already. A lot of people were complaining about Cities Skylines 2 when it came out because of performance issues and because of other issues within the gameplay, and they are now working towards fixing that, but it is like an afterthought at this point, fixing it after the game has been released and paid for by your fans. So it is already their second strike at this point, Cities Skylines 2 and Life by You. It is a little interesting that this is all happening right now, but overall, as I said, they're not struggling financially. It is interesting that they just decided to cut ties, destroy the studio, delete everything, trash the game, put it in the bin. I know it wasn't up to par with what their expectations were, but trashing a game is very, very expensive. They put a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of work behind this game, and they just threw it in the trash, especially because we have to remind ourselves, this game was supposed to come out in October, and I believe that if people did not react as negatively as they did, I think they would have still released it. Probably made a few bucks, and probably maybe fixed it later like they're doing with Cities 2. I don't know what this is saying about Paradox. I love Paradox, I love their games. I really hope this is just a little bump in the road for them, because they've been pretty good, consistent with their games and their releases, and I'm excited to see other releases by them in the future. But this does give me a little questions, a little something. I don't know. I am a little iffed out by what happened here with Life by You, especially with them just sending away the 24 people of the studio that they made specifically for this game. So I don't know, it's a little weird. Obviously, let me know in the comments down below what you think. What do you think about Life by You being cancelled? Were you excited about this game? Do we think that maybe there was some other internal issues that these are the reason that the game has been cancelled? And will we see another life simulation game come out, or at least be announced in the upcoming months after this news that this market is now even less full than it was before? Because it was starting to get a little full, but then one game has been lost already, and you know, there's not many going on. But obviously, again, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and bye bye.